So first we're going to listen to Time Scar from Chrono Cross. It's a really beautiful theme and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Isn't it really? Because there's a kind of front ground and background music in a way. Often this music feels up front initially, and then as it develops, it becomes background music in a sense. So it sets the theme up, it sets the feel up, and then takes a step back, and the action presumably is happening all in front of you. I mean, I felt like it was a real fusion of Gaelic, Scottish, Irish, Japanese kind of, that feel. So you've got the pipe, you don't quite know whether it's a sort of Eastern sound or an Asian sound, or it's a Scottish Irish, and then of course the tabor comes in or whatever it is, and you've got that sense. It's a real sort of driven. It's a really interesting kind of mix of West and East. Really, it feels.
It's so funny. I listen to music completely differently after the time you came on, because I've been thinking more about like, I like all this stuff so blanketly. I just enjoy it so much that it's hard for me to be critical about it.
I think I said last time. I think what I was saying to the people I work with and the students often is, I think I said to you, is I ask them to be critical, to be able to sort of say why they do or don't like something. So
but
it's
why?
not a negative thing. I think it's a really clarifying thing for the mind of actually, if you're interested, you don't have to do it. Sit back and enjoy it. But if you are curious, why am I interested in that music? Why is that track better than the other one? Why is this one leading me into a place that I feel more comfortable or less comfortable? All those things, really.
I'm not even sure that I like this song. This piece is called it's called BFG Division, but it stands for Big Fucking Gun. This is from a game called Doom. I knew it. Watching that music video is actually pretty impressive. Actually, seeing how it's done.
It is what it is. It's perfect, isn't it? I mean, it's just terrifying hell. Hell in music, really brilliantly produced. I mean, it's so clean in a way. The actual sound quality is,
it's crisp, right? Yeah.
I mean, the video is fantastic, and with those 666 references keep popping up on the digital screen. It could be a soundtrack to any war, couldn't it? And essentially, in the thick of that horrible. It's not meant to make you feel good, is it?
No.
And maybe it does. I mean, maybe it's kind of testosterone packed, adrenaline packed.
It's good at the gym, I will say.
Exactly. Yeah, it kind of makes you push yourself and keep going. Yeah, I don't think I'd describe that as, in a sense, a composition. I'd describe that as a kind of sound world creating, a sort of layered stress, layered anxiety, layered fear and terror.
How important do you think melody is to telling a story? And do we need melody to tell a story if we can get away with ambient music or a soundscape, like in the case of BFG Division, which it's not based around a melody, even though there is sort of one in there?
Yeah, I think, as I said before, there's a sort of foreground, background thing going on in music that's for film and for video and various things like that, that either it's leading the action or it's supporting the action, I think. So there's and I think we talked about this last time. In the past, movies really were full of themes. You had movie themes.
Yeah.
So of course, John Williams and others. Movies don't really have themes. They don't have big musical themes anymore.
That's a good segue into our next track. Thank you for that. One Winged Angel, which is all inspired by the Rite of Spring and how it was written. I feel like you've probably sung on this.
am indeed on that recording.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
All right, so you already know that one.
It was good fun doing that. It was good fun because it was quite
Yeah.
a little bit more challenging than usual, and very choral. It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's great to hear it. Actually, it's great. So if you just took little chunks of it, because there's sort of 4 or 5 sections in there,
Yeah.
which I'm not sure I've ever heard the complete thing. So the initial opening section, as you say, is kind of Stravinsky-esque a little bit. It's got that feel of that driven, and then slight. I mean, it's in 4. It's half speed as what the Rite of Spring would have been. But it's got a little bit of arrhythmic moments, which are quite exciting, and it's good. I mean, it's really good, interesting orchestral writing, and you're going along with it and thinking, oh, liking this. This is interesting, and it's very tonal. It's not particularly challenging harmonically or whatever, but it's interesting, and you sort of think this could be a serious contemporary piece of classical music or contemporary music. But it then gives itself away slightly, because there are a couple of moments. There's a kind of Hollywood moment where it has that Hollywood suspension, and then it resolves to something else, to a little comic moment. It could be a serious piece of music, but probably would be considered less for the fact that it has those different elements in it, that it doesn't develop themes. It sort of establishes a theme, plays it for a bit, adds a little bit, and then shifts to something else slightly, rather than this kind of building and exploring. And it's beautiful, good orchestration. I mean, real good orchestration.
And he was self-taught, which is even crazier to me.
Was he really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it hooks me in, because there's stuff happening around it, and you can hear the violins or the oboe or the trumpet or whatever it might be.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed that one. It's good fun.
Let's move on to something similarly interesting as One Winged Angel. This is called the Immortal Imperium.
It's clever because I think the machine is speaking. It's hard, metallic, impermeable, dangerous. It's got this feeling like a bomb's going to go off or something, pulsating, this kind of heartbeat, all that sort of stuff. And then suddenly you get these voices, these kind of real voices on the top that feel both connected and not connected. They don't feel that they're part of that world. You don't feel that the chant or the thing is coming out of that, but it feels like it's echoing it, or they're somehow connected. There's 500 years between them, but somehow there's a connection. And then when the organ comes in, it suddenly feels be anything from 18th century through to 20th century organ concerto or something, organ hymn or whatever.
Right.
It's the frame of reference. It's what music. It's where music makes you jump. So I'm sure if we did a test of you played certain sorts of music and said just press which button, it makes you think of this, or it makes you feel this, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if the majority of people would come up with the same sort of thing. Playground, going to the doctors. If you had choice of things, you'd go, yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. And clearly, choral chanting, as we said last time, has a double side, isn't it? A coin, really. One is saintly and beautiful, and I'm going to get married, and it's all gorgeous. And the other is, I'm going to hell. I'm surrounded by these voices who are singing me to hell.
It's interesting that you talked about that, though, about the heartbeat and the mechanical thing, because they do, pray to the machine god. And so there's the human element mixed in with the, yeah, it's
It's like
fantastic.
a sort of mechanical heart, wasn't it?
Malenia Blade of Miquella. Elden Ring is a game that came out a couple years ago, and it's taken the world by storm. And 2 years ago, it is Wagnerian.
So for me, that's kind of the weakest one you've played so far today. I mean, it sounds fantastic, doesn't it? It's very rich, huge orchestration. I don't know how much of that is electronic or real. Most of it sounds quite real. But essentially, you know, those 2 minutes, best part of 2 minutes of a pedal note and just people moving around it. So that always sounds very exciting. You know, wow, bow, down, down, and you can do whatever you like around it because you've got this pedal note just hitting all the time. It feels dangerous and grounded, and then it sort of shifted into a kind of Carl Orff world, and then essentially for the last 2 minutes was essentially just a cadence being repeated. So it sort of gives you the pedal note, drops down to the fourth, goes up a semitone, gets to the fifth, and then resolves, and the same thing is happening. So it's this same kind of, we're here at home, wow.
Yeah, it doesn't move. Yeah,
it's satisfying. It's like eating fish and chips or a burger or something. It does what it says on the tin, doesn't it? Really, that fails the Bardsley test. I think I could do that. Therefore, it can't be very good.
Do you want to see it in context? She has something called the scarlet rot, which is causing her body to slowly decay from the inside.
Oh, yeah. Lost an arm. all very religious, isn't it?
Yeah, anybody who would say there's no religion in this series of games is completely wrong. Rebirth, crucifixion, there's all that stuff. The Godskin apostles. Obviously, did the context help that for you a little bit more? Was it more appealing?
Yeah. No, it's perfect, isn't it? I mean, it's that constant. Yeah, it's a constant terror, you know. I still think it's a bit lazy. I still think it's a bit sort of, it's gone and used whatever's lying around, really.
Speaking of this has just won a bunch of awards. This is for Baldur's Gate 3, one of the biggest games of last year. This particular track is the Devil's track, Raphael's final act.
Lives, oh mortal lives, expire. Souls go to their dooms in flame
Its laws. Hell, effect and the cause. Curtain falls, but hold your applause. Squirm, for now down here come the claws.
Mini musical.
It's fun. I mean, you know, it's not. I don't think it's that deep, but I do think it's something that a lot of video game audiences has never heard before.
Context again is everything. I think it's again, it's a three chord progression, and it's and the lyrics were, well, AI could probably have produced those. I think I did a little test actually the other day for AI, being a writer, and I asked AI to write me a poem, and I thought, you know, if this was handed to me by a 16-year-old, 15-year-old in a school, I'd go, okay, you've got some really good ideas here. There's some nice thoughts. You've got some nice words. Let's try and just make it a little bit more nuanced or whatever. And then I said, write me a 19th century of Dickensian ghost story. Happened, you know, instantly. And again, if it was done by a teenager in school, you'd go, you've picked up some really good thoughts here. You've captured some of those ideas. But it was terribly naive. There was a sort of naivety and a sort of generic feel to both of those things, and that, you know, that those lyrics and that music, that little section was just felt a bit like a bit of Jesus Christ Superstar meets Rocky Horror.
It's almost a pastiche, if you will.
Yeah, but it does the job. Again, it's the context. It does the job, and it's and they know what they're doing. They want that pastiche. As an actor, who wouldn't want to do that role? Who wouldn't want to play that baddie in a pantomime? That's what it felt like. It felt like a British pantomime. And those songs that somebody would write for a pantomime for a baddie. You know, I'm bad. Yeah, I'm really bad.
Has this sort of shaped or changed your perspective at all from the last time, or is it more of the same? Or were there some things that were more insightful this time, or you know, what was your sort of takeaway from this experience?
No, I'm not sure I've changed that much, really, because I think I still stand my ground and say, you know, the music of Stravinsky and Beethoven, possibly Shostakovich, absolutely. Those great, the Andre Previns of this world, who wrote, you know, fantastic film music and operas and various things, they've absolutely informed all this music. Of course they have. What probably determines whether the piece does it for me or not is just how visceral it is, how much it engages and grabs me initially. And I think if, you know, that big choral thing, the bigger piece, which I thought was just a derivative, I just thought, I've heard all that before. I've heard that sound well before. There's nothing new in here. Whereas some of the other things you've played for me today have been much more diverse and much more interesting, and have been exploring more. I mean, I would encourage all your listeners and your viewers to keep an ear out and go, you know what, this is a new game, but I've heard that music before. This music sounds like that other game I bought 5 years ago or 3 years ago. And if it does, then maybe go, well, is that good, or does it matter? You know, is it just wallpaper? Is that all it is, really? Or is there something different about it? Has it shifted slightly? Is it allowing a musical theme to develop in a way that it didn't before. I don't know. But I think that's what I'm listening out for. I'm listening out for something that really captures my ear and grabs me and is visceral and attention grabbing. And that could be through the orchestration. It could be through that mix of the electronic and the real voices and the organ and various things. So I suppose I might be a bit of a demanding listener, maybe.
Well, I mean, there's 40 years of it. Surely there is something that, you know, I think that's also the interesting component too, is that there's 40 years of musical history there. Surely there is like a whole sector of video game music that you would probably be crazy about. It's just finding those things, you know, and that's the thing. When people are like, oh, you didn't show them this. And it's like, well, I don't even think about that. You know what I mean? Because my taste also influenced the choices, and also like picking from, you know, so it's all.
I'd love to hear. I mean, you know, if I ever come on again, but even if I don't, I'd love you to send me some stuff that is really different, really spatially different, has a different context to it. You know, using purely electronic instruments or just pure voices. You know, a cappella. Just stuff that stands out in a way. And I get it. You know, if it's a fight video, and you need to build the adrenaline, you need to kind of get people's hearts beating, you've got to have the drum beats, you've got to have that pedal, you've got to have that driven sound.
Yeah, certainly. I'll spin my brain for more ideas, and if you want to leave a comment for Garth, feel free to leave a comment. Perhaps he will take a look at those and pick out some music that will appeal to him as well. And Garth, thank you so much for coming on and spending time with me again. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you.
Just before we go, just one final thing, which is the Oscar-winning movie, Frankenstein Story. I forgot, with Emma, whatever what it's called. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. The music track is brilliant because when we first meet the character, the sort of Frankenstein child, she's a baby, even though she's a fully grown woman. She can't walk, she can't speak. And the music, I hadn't realized until about 15, 20 minutes in, that the music, the score, evolves as the character evolves. So as the character becomes more sophisticated and more grown up, the music becomes more sophisticated and grown up. So initially it's just plinky plonk and noises and scratches and scrapes
that's awesome.
And weird things. And then eventually it becomes more melodic, it becomes more cohesive, more coherent and very expressive. And I thought that was brilliant. What a brilliant idea that the music absolutely echoes the journey.
The development of the character. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thanks, Garth. We'll talk to you soon. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. And good luck with this. You're doing great things.
Oh, thank you. Bye.